What's up, co-reporters, and welcome back to my channel, Curly Girls Back. So it's time for a recap of what went down on last week's episode of Teen Mom Next Chapter. Just a quick FYI, my brothers are coming into town. The younger one, he's coming in first, so he's here tomorrow. And then the older one, he comes on Wednesday, and they're staying for the week. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to get videos out as frequently as I typically do, but I still will be uploading, okay? Just FYI, after that, I will be back to regular upload schedules. Sorry about that. Now, let's get into the episode, shall we? So Tyler, he showed us a little bit more of that ketamine therapy that he's been doing. And then we get to Cheyenne Floyd talking to her friends about Ryder missing her dad, Cory, while he's been away shooting for the challenge. At this point, he had been filming for about 3 weeks, and it turned out that he left exactly on her birthday and that she cried her eyes out when that happened. And obviously that breaks your heart, but they have such like a different like lifestyle and a different kind of like career that like I get that it could be hard for people to understand, but it just is what it is. You know what I mean? Very, very unfortunate, but it does bring home the bacon. At the end of the day, he is out there working to provide a good life for her and her sisters. Now, let's get into Jade. She decides to go visit Big Gulp Christy at rehab, and she actually brings Big Gulp's sister, who is her aunt, right? And Big Gulp's sister, I'm telling you guys, she has the same mannerisms as Big Gulp, and right down to the same like raspy voice. And she's always like frantic, just like BGC is. BGC being Big Gulp Christy, of course. So I was like, oh, wow. It's so funny how like people resemble each other so much sometimes, you know, like sisters or brothers or whatever. Now, next up in Florida, Brianna asked Devon to take both of her daughters to the daddy-daughter dance at school, and he accepts. But when she talks to her sister, Brittany, a little bit later, Brianna reveals that Nova actually doesn't want to share her moment at the daddy-daughter dance with Stella because, mind you, Devon isn't Stella's dad, right? So she's kind of in that phase where she's like, why do I have to share my dad with my little sister? And obviously you feel bad for her, but you also kind of feel real bad for her younger sister as well, that like she's deprived of I can't even say a good father figure, because it's not even like Nova has a good father figure herself, you know what I mean? But that she would be deprived of the opportunity to have someone show up for her own biological dad, for this daddy-daughter dance. But I guess all the better for Nova, because it turns out that Stella actually wants her own dad, Lewis, to be there with her at the dance instead of doing it with Devon. So we're going to have to see how that goes, right? Brianna ultimately decides to call up Lewis and ask him, and she's like, listen, Stella really wants you to go. She cried her eyes out. He agrees to show up, and she's like, please, if you're going to agree, show up. Otherwise, say no, because she really, truly wants you there, and she's hurting badly, and I don't want you to break her heart. And like, oh, it breaks my heart for her and for Stella just hearing that, right? Like, how can like men do this? Like, it's crazy to me that you can have a whole child and barely show up for them and just constantly be full of excuses. I don't understand why you have to be begged to show up in your own child's life. Ugh, it sucks. Now, I kind of feel like we're getting more people in this episode than ever. Like typically we show what, like 4 people? In this episode, I feel like we're seeing like 5 different girls' storylines, right? So we get to Leah Messer. And so she puts on her fine ass mom hat to go clean the house. And then she just so happens to stumble upon some photo albums that Jaylan had at the house. I don't know if my age is showing here, but I'm like, why the hell does this young man have a photo album? I don't have a photo album. I know my parents have photo albums, but they're my parents. They're a little on the older side, you know, they're people of a particular age, right? But like people my age, I don't see us having photo albums. I know I have a friend, you've seen her on my channel sometimes, her name is Julie. She really likes like scrapbooking and that stuff. So I know she has like this cute photo album, but like he had a bunch like your parents have a bunch, you know? So I did find that to be quite fascinating. So she does call him and offer to meet up to give him the photo albums. I'm like, girl, if you don't just go ahead and leave those on your porch or at the end of the driveway, or something like that? Like, why would you be offering to meet up with this guy? Like, absolutely not. I wouldn't. No way. No. Find them on the porch. Hopefully it doesn't rain. That's how I would roll. So now back to Tyler and his ketamine situation. Caitlyn actually flies up there to wherever he's at. Where is he? Texas again? And they do a couples therapy session all together. And it's basically just like a recap of what was going down when he was under the influence and whatnot. And so he apologizes to Kate for them having to give Carly up for adoption and just his like really promiscuous era and how it was rooted in the CSA that he suffered and whatnot. And I've got to say, like, as wild as it is to me that these people have been together since they were children and they're now in their 30s, like they seem to really like have it going on. They seem to like really still be in that in love phase, and you know, all the more power to them for that. I think it's wonderful, and I'm happy that Tyler feels better and that he's able to communicate and that he has Kate there to show up for him, you know, similar to how he had showed up for her when she was having her issues and whatnot. I think that they are a great support for one another. And so it was nice. It was really nice. Now, let's get back to Big Gulp, okay? So Jade is at the rehab with her, and Big Gulp ultimately ends up opening up about having I'm sorry, you guys, I thought I had this on mute, about having SA trauma that led to her addiction issues. She said she was on meth. I thought meth, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not too good at this whole drug thing, but I thought meth made you like sickly thin and super scabby, you know? And yeah, I was like, oh my God, what was she doing on meth? When was she on meth? I've always wondered how people get on this hard stuff. I know I wonder out loud when it comes to Ryan, like, how do you get onto heroin? And it was even like Janelle as well. I'm like, I can see why people get into pot. I can see why people get into like Molly. I can see why people get into like, you know, certain things. But then when it gets to like the meth and the heroining, I'm like, are y'all okay? Like, why would you be touching? You know what I mean? Like, that is just like way out there. So yeah, it's really sad to hear that that was the root of her issues that drove her down that path in life. It really, 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 really is painful to think that people have their lives stolen by other people in this way. And it's really, really unfair. So you know how I said Big Gulp's sister reminds me of her? When Big Gulp's sister, I guess Big Gulp Jr., was driving to the rehab with Jade, did you guys notice that in the drink holder, she had an extra large, what do you call those Starbucks drinks? I don't drink Starbucks or coffee or anything like that, so I don't know. What is that? A grande, a venti? She had like a really big Starbucks drink. And I was like, you are your sister's sister. Like, yes. So now Jaylan, he and Leah meet up. And I gotta say, you guys, Jaylan gives me the complete and utter ick, okay? Like, I felt a visceral level of anger watching his scene with Leah, where he's acting all chill, knowing what he did to her, right? Like, worming his way into her life to use her for fame, disregarding her feelings, her daughter's feelings. Remember that performative proposal he did to his like child fiancés and whatnot? Like, it was so wild. Or what was I calling them? His child brides. Like, it's so bad. The monthly photo, everything just to get his name out there. And then she gives him money for a house because the IRS is after her, but it's her own money that she had. And then he gets it in his name. And then he F's around. And according to Leah, it seemed like he was doing some down low activities. And instead of just like agreeing to break up, he goes, I'm going to keep the house unless you agree to not talk about this. Like, he is just so damn grimy. Like, I hate seeing him on this show. But I do want to point out how weird the storyline this season has been between Leah and Jaylan, because in episode 1 or 2, I'm leaning more towards 2, she was all gung-ho and excited to invite him to her twins' birthday party. And then a couple episodes later, she's angry at him, but I don't know why she's suddenly angry at him when all that stuff had already happened by episode 1, when she was all giddy and acting like he still needed needed to be around the kids despite him being a total, like, what is that thing? Grifter. It's grifter, right? Being a total grifter. So we still don't know what happened to make her turn from like still googly-eyed over him to being icked out by him. And I really want to know. I hope they ask her at the reunion, but at the very least, I will say I'm happy that like she's moved on from this man, though it does seem like she's all nervous and flustered around him. Like the feelings are still there. Y'all know that look, right? So let's get back to Florida, okay? It's getting cold out there in West Virginia. So back in Florida, Brianna's baby daddies, Devon and Lewis, show up to her house to take the girls to the dance. And I was really happy for the girls that both of them showed up. Listen, when it comes to Devon and Lewis, you really never know. I knew Devon would show up, but I didn't know if he'd be sober. Then when it comes to Lewis, I didn't think he would show up, to be honest with you. But the fact that they both came was great. But Lewis was a bit weird. First of all, the girls were really cute, and Devon called them cuties and beautiful and gorgeous. And then Lewis was kind of just there, like no words of like hype, nothing. And it was just like, dude, like, what did that girl see in that man? Like, oh, I can't imagine looking at Lewis and being like, quick, let's go to a bathroom stall and make a baby. Absolutely not. Like, what happened there? I really want the tea. Now, I'm going to say something, okay? Devon showing up in a Burberry shirt, it was funny to me. And I'm going to put Burberry in quotation marks because we don't know if it's Burberry. It could be Blueberry for all we know, or Blackberry. Because we know he has no money, right? So it's just, people like that are so interesting to me. People who are so worried about looking rich when they're broke, right? Like, just, it's okay, Devon. Wear a regular shirt. It's fine. Okay, like it's just so much. It's like when he was flossing on the gram. Remember, he goes to the Crip Club. He had that thing of all that money, and then he's in his Gucci, like whatnot. And it's like, weren't you just talking to your baby mama about how you can't afford to like get a car, get your car payments together or whatever? Didn't you just finally get a bed for your daughter? Like, wasn't she sleeping on your couch for years? Because you know what I mean? But you're worried about Gucci, but you're worried about Burberry. It's really lame, to be honest with you, but I digress. Now, when Devon and Lewis leave with the girls to go to the dance, the Dejesus ladies sit around and talk about how weird it is that Lewis didn't say a word to his daughter, Stella, the entire time and seems to be off mentally. I gagged a little bit when Brittany said that Brianna's off mentally too, but obviously her mom was pissed off about that. But it is true. Like Lewis made no effort to be like warm towards his kids. So I was uncomfortable for Stella. Ladies, please be careful. Don't let just anybody impregnate you. Okay. Like, look at this mess. Like, it's just so sad for you. It's sad for your kids. Like, please, this is really bad. So a little while later, Brianna gets a call from her daughter Nova's cell phone, and it's Nova telling her that Stella wants her to pick her up. She's crying. She doesn't feel comfortable with Lewis. And it's like, of course, she doesn't know that man. She thought that he would show up and everything would feel better. Isn't that heartbreaking? Honestly, kids being heartbroken by their parents, ooh, it makes you want to cry, you guys. It really does. Like, oh, what? Like, wow, she should not be feeling that way, like, at all. Lewis, like, get it together, please. Like, you were a mess. You're too old for this. Like, get it together. I was heartbroken for her. I really, really am. Okay. Now, I'm not surprised either that this happened because, again, Lewis made no effort to connect with her. He wasn't even smiling. He was just taking pictures of her. Imagine some strange man, supposedly your father that you barely know, is just like this, taking pictures of you. Oh, you look great. Yes, smile pose. It's just, just like weirdness. Like, I don't know. I know she wanted him there, but she thought he was going to show up in a reasonable way. And unfortunately, Lewis isn't capable of that. So yeah, I'm devastated. And I really hope that like people watching this, women especially, take heed and like, just don't let any old random like loser impregnate you. Like, it's just heartbreaking. Anyway, let's get back to Big Gulp. So Big Gulp, Jade and her sister Big Gulp Jr., they all sit around after BGC is released from rehab, and Gulp is talking a big game about how she's completely changed. She's not the same person at all. She'll never go back to that place. And guess what Jade tells us? Jade is not letting her mom get away with nothing, and I love it. She's like, listen, my mom is a gosh darn liar, okay? Like on camera, she's acting like she's, changed in this way, that way, and the other. But I'll have y'all know that off camera, she asked me and her sister if we wanted to go play bingo with her. Now, the type of bingo that Big Gulp plays is the gambling kind. Well, she just came out of rehab for gambling and substance abuse. So why the heck would she be trying to go back to gambling again? Right? Very disappointing. And again, it's like, this is why I said, don't spend your money on this girl. She is a lost cause. But unfortunately, Jade decided to go ahead and throw some money at a woman who has no real interest in getting her life together. I hope it's the last time that she's willing to do that for her mom, because absolutely freaking not. Save your coins for your daughter, okay? And for yourself. No more. No more. She's already shown time and time again that she will never take recovery seriously. At this point, I think it's in Jade's best interest to just kind of distance herself as much as possible from her chaotic mother. Lord, on a more positive note, in the final scene of the episode, we get to see Caitlyn and Tyler have a romantic picnic where, again, they talk about healing, their journey of love and life together and whatnot. And I felt like that was a really good note to end off on. What did you guys think of the entire episode? Was there anything that really stuck out to you? Make sure to let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. I'm going to film a quick channel member video before I head out. I'm about to go to a para with my friend. I'm trying to meet up with everybody before my brothers get here because I'm going to be busy with them for the week. And then I've got an update on that wedding guest story I told you guys already, my channel members. And then I went to a drag party on Saturday. So I was drag as a guy, and that was quite a wild adventure. And I'm going to talk about that with you guys right now, okay? The channel members. So if you guys want to join in on those special exclusive conversations, make sure to hit that join button, youtube.com/GraceReport/join, and all those videos will be available to you. Take care, you guys. Bye.